Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into the absolute foundation of aging well. We spent so much time obsessing over what we eat or how we sleep, but today we're going to start with a pretty shocking truth about your daily mobility. It's something that almost always gets completely overlooked. So, I want you to honestly answer this question for a second. If you were sitting on the floor right now, maybe you dropped something or you're playing with a grandchild, could you get back up without struggling, without any pain, and without needing to grab onto a table or another person? I'm asking because orthopedic surgeons actually call this simple action one of the single strongest predictors of how long you'll live. It is, without a doubt, one of the most underrated tests in modern medicine, and a lot of us are slowly losing this ability without even realizing it's happening. And here is exactly why that matters so much. According to a massive study in the European Journal of Preventive Cardiology, older adults who struggle to get up from the floor are 5 to 6 times more likely to die within the next 6 years compared to people who can get up easily. Just let that sink in. 5 to 6 times. But hey, don't panic, because today we are going to build what I call the longevity pyramid to reverse this entirely, starting right from the ground up to make sure you keep your independence. All right, let's get right into section 1, the foundation of health, evidence-based baselines. Okay, we've got to build this longevity pyramid starting at the very base, and that means establishing a systemic health foundation based on a massive healthline review of lifestyle habits. Because look, before we even think about strengthening muscles, longevity requires giving your body the right metabolic tools. First up, limiting sugary drinks, absolutely crucial for protecting your heart. Second, you've got to get quality sleep to regulate your appetite and stave off insulin resistance. Third, eat enough protein. It's literally the raw material your body needs to maintain muscle tissue. Fourth, adding in extra virgin olive oil works wonders for managing systemic inflammation. And finally, you want to strive for about 150 minutes of weekly movement just to keep that cardiovascular system primed. These are basically your non-negotiable baselines. Moving right along to section 2, balance and core strength, the specific systems keeping us upright. So moving up the pyramid, we have to look inward. We're talking about the core and lower back systems that physically stop us from losing our balance in the first place. You can have tree trunk legs, but without a strong core, you really have no stability. To build that up, we look at movements targeting the posterior chain. Things like good mornings or back extensions gently stretch and strengthen your lower back. But it isn't just about moving up and down, it's about anchoring yourself. A dead stop plank, for example, forces your shoulders, torso, hips, and legs to instantly co-contract. Or the Superman hold, where you lie face down and just hover your arms and legs off the floor, that acts as a rock-solid anchor for your glutes and lower back. These moves force your whole body to work together as one rigid, secure system. Now, before we look at the best movement solutions, we kind of need to understand the jargon doctors use, specifically clinical terms like FOF and TUG. FOF simply stands for fear of falling. It's a self-reported measure of how confident someone feels just moving around in their daily life. TUG, on the other hand, stands for the timed up and go test. This is an objective metric where doctors time how long it takes you to stand up, walk a few meters, and sit back down. These two metrics are absolutely critical for medical professionals assessing fall risk. And this is where it gets really interesting because we can directly improve those clinical metrics. A huge randomized controlled meta-analysis over in Frontiers found that practicing Tai Chi significantly improved balance and reduced overall fall risk. It actually lowered TUG test times and reduced that fear of falling. By helping the brain better integrate sensory information and improving neuromuscular control, Tai Chi is just this incredibly effective way to restore your physical confidence. Which brings us to section 3, rising with ease, mastering the floor transition. Let's tackle that terrifying floor rising statistic we talked about earlier. We need to look at smart, completely pain-free ways to get back on your feet if you do happen to end up on the floor. Researchers at Stanford University observed this brilliant fluid sequence called the sit to kneel to stand method. Step 1, you sit to the side, rolling your weight onto one hip. Step 2, you transition from your side into a kneel, basically pressing up onto your hands and knees. And finally, you bring one foot forward into a lunge and push up to a stand. They found that practicing this specific sequence just 3 to 5 times a week improved floor rising time by a remarkable 47% in only 5 weeks. Compare that to the painful instinct we usually have, which is to just try pushing straight up from the floor. Doing that creates massive twisting forces and a whole lot of pain in the knees and hips. Compare that to the sheer intelligence of a furniture-assisted lift. Using a couch or a sturdy chair to help yourself up, that is not a sign of weakness, it's incredibly smart. A Mayo Clinic study showed that using furniture for support cuts the load on your joints by up to 50% and actually reduced reported knee pain during floor rises by almost half. All right, time for section 4, bed exercises for strength, building leg power while lying down. Now, what's genuinely wild about this explainer is that you don't even need to be on your feet to build the leg strength required to stay upright. You can build serious power right from your mattress. Let's talk about the quad set. This is an isometric exercise, meaning your muscles are working hard, but your joints aren't actually moving. You just lie flat and press the back of your knee firmly down into the bed for 10 seconds. This forces literally every single muscle fiber in your quadricep to fire at once. And because there's zero joint movement, it is completely pain-free, which is an absolute game changer for anyone dealing with knee arthritis. The results of this simple bed exercise are going to blow your mind. A 2021 study revealed that seniors doing just 10 minutes of daily quad sets built 47% more quadricep strength than a control group that walked for 30 minutes a day. Because walking doesn't always engage those high threshold muscle fibers if your legs are already weak, isometric holds like this are actually vastly superior for rapid strength building. And you can pair the quad set with a couple of other powerful moves right there in bed. Heel slides, where you slowly glide your heel up toward your glutes, gently lubricate the knee joint without any weight-bearing stress. Then there's straight leg raises, lifting a completely locked leg just 12 inches off the mattress to heavily target the quads and hip flexors. Adding these into your morning routine can quickly reverse the kind of weakness that makes standing up from a chair feel like a massive chore. Finally, we've arrived at Section 5, the Fall Prevention Powerhouse, spotlighting the glute bridge. So, this is it. We've reached the absolute pinnacle of our longevity pyramid. If you only remember one thing from today, please let it be the ultimate fall prevention powerhouse, the glute bridge. Let's break down the mechanics to make sure you're doing it safely. Lie flat on your back, knees bent, feet flat on the mattress. Press your feet down, squeeze your glutes as hard as you can, and lift your hips until they make a straight line with your knees and shoulders. Hold that for 5 seconds, then lower down nice and slow. The absolute key here is the squeeze. If you feel this in your lower back, actually, scratch that. If you feel it anywhere but your glutes, you are not squeezing hard enough. You know, we so often hear that just going for a walk is the best way to prevent falls. But unlike general walking, which can actually fall short for seniors dealing with existing muscle loss, glute bridges specifically target the single most underused muscle group in the human body. Ask any physical therapist, they'll tell you, the glutes are the main engine for literally all your lower body power. Strong glutes are your body's built-in fall prevention system. And the science backing this up is just phenomenal. A pivotal 2022 study published in the Journal of Geriatric Physical Therapy focused exclusively on the glute bridge. They had seniors doing this specific movement just 3 times a week for 10 weeks. The result? A massive 54% reduction in falls. The fall rate plummeted from a baseline index of 100 all the way down to 46. That is a life-changing and honestly potentially life-saving reduction. And get this, that exact same clinical study from 2022 recorded an incredible 33% increase in overall hip strength right alongside that massive drop in falls. It totally proves that you don't need fancy gym equipment or heavy weights to protect yourself. Your very own bed might just be your greatest tool for maintaining your independence. Which brings us to the end of our explainer today. We've looked at the data, we've built our pyramid all the way from foundational nutrition up to targeted high-impact movements like the glute bridge. Whether it's cutting back on soda, starting a Tai Chi class, or literally just doing 10 minutes of glute bridges and quad sets in bed every morning, the power to stay upright is in your hands. So I'll leave you with this to think about. What small step are you going to take today to ensure your independence tomorrow? Thanks so much for learning with me, and I'll catch you on the next explainer.